My dad raised his glass to congratulate my brother, then turned to me and handed me a piece of paper. What was written on it ended my role in this family forever. I'm Sarah, the reliable daughter, the one who never caused problems. The night my family celebrated my brother, I finally understood the cost of that role. My dad was standing at the head of the dining table, glass raised, smile wide, basking in the attention like he'd just won something himself. The room was packed, relatives squeezed shoulder to shoulder, plates balanced on laps, voices overlapping. He cleared his throat and said, "I just want to say how proud I am of my son." Applause broke out instantly. Then he reached into his pocket and pulled out a set of keys. Not house keys, car keys. New ones, shiny. He held them up like a trophy. "This is yours," he said. "You earned it." More cheering. Someone whistled. My brother looked stunned, then thrilled, hugging my dad while everyone crowded around them. And then, as the noise shifted toward the garage, my dad leaned toward me. His smile faded. His voice dropped. "Oh, and you," he said, sliding a folded piece of paper across the table. "We need to talk about rent. $900 a month, starting Sunday." No smile, no explanation, just that. I unfolded the paper and stared at the number like it might rearrange itself into something else. It didn't. In that moment, a lifetime of small, confusing moments finally snapped into focus. I smiled automatically. I nodded. I didn't say a word, but something inside me quietly checked out. What happened after that didn't involve yelling or dramatic walkouts. It happened slowly, quietly, and it changed my family in ways they still haven't fully recovered from. No one ever said it out loud, but it was always there. In the way my report cards were skimmed while his were analyzed. In how my mistakes were treated like character flaws while his were treated like learning experiences. I became the dependable one, the fixer, the one who noticed what needed to be done and did it without being asked. After college, I moved back home temporarily. That was the plan, at least. Save money, build experience, apply for grad programs. I paid for groceries sometimes, covered small bills, took care of paperwork my parents didn't want to deal with. I didn't mind. I told myself this was what being part of a family meant. My mom used to say, "Your dad just trusts you more." Like trust explained why responsibility only went one direction. Like being capable meant I didn't need support. I convinced myself it was fine. Families aren't perfect. Love shows up in different ways. If I stayed steady long enough, things would balance out. That belief is what I carried into the summer. My brother graduated. Something felt off weeks before the ceremony. The house buzzed with excitement, but I felt invisible inside it. My mom obsessed over menus and decorations. My dad spent hours in the garage with the door closed, lowering his voice whenever I walked by. When I asked simple questions, what time people were coming, if we needed more chairs, I got brushed off. "We've got it handled." The day of the graduation arrived hot and loud and overwhelming. I cleaned. I organized. I helped my brother straighten his gown. At the ceremony, my dad practically leapt out of his seat when my brother's name was called. I clapped too, genuinely proud. Even as an old, familiar ache settled in my chest, I remembered my own graduations. My dad there, technically, but distracted, already thinking about the next thing. Back at the house, people poured in. Laughter bounced off the walls. Music played. I refilled drinks, answered work questions, smiled through congratulations meant for my brother. The garage stayed closed. At a tea dinner, my dad stood up and gave his speech. He talked about hard work, perseverance, about rewarding effort. His hand rested on my brother's shoulder the whole time. Then the keys came out. The celebration exploded. I clapped. I smiled. I did exactly what I was supposed to do. And then came the folded paper. That night, after everyone left, I sat on my bed staring at the wall. $900. I could afford it. That wasn't the problem. The problem was what it said without saying it. You don't get rewarded. You get charged. Sometime after midnight, I opened my laptop and looked at my savings. Enough to move. Enough to stop negotiating my worth. The next morning, no one mentioned the rent conversation. That silence told me everything I needed to know. I waited until the house was empty. Then I packed. I didn't rush. I folded clothes carefully. I left behind things tied to versions of myself that believed patience would eventually be noticed. I wrote a short note and stuck it on the fridge. "I'm moving out. I need space. I'll reach out when I'm ready." Then I left. The call started a few hours later. texts, missed calls, confusion quickly turning into irritation. I didn't answer, not because I wanted to punish anyone, but because for the first time, I wasn't interested in defending a decision that protected me. That night, I sat in my car in a grocery store parking lot, hands on the steering wheel, breathing shallowly, not angry, just hollowed out. My brother texted, "Are you okay? Mom's upset. Dad says you overreacted." I turned my phone face down. I stayed with a friend for the first week. She didn't ask for explanations, just handed me a key and cleared space. The simplicity of it nearly broke me. My mom's messages were long and emotional. She wanted to talk. She wanted me to come home so we could fix this. She never mentioned the rent. My dad didn't call at first. When he did, his tone was clipped. "This is unnecessary," he said. "Adults don't just leave." I almost laughed. I hadn't stormed out. I'd packed quietly. A few days later, my brother called. Not texted. Actually called. We met for coffee. He looked tired, confused. He told me things were falling apart at home. Bills he didn't understand. Appointments he didn't know how to schedule. "They keep asking me stuff you used to handle," he said. For the first time, I saw it land on him. "I didn't know about the rent thing," he said quietly. "I know," I told him. "This isn't about you." The real confrontation came weeks later when my dad showed up at my friend's apartment unannounced. He didn't sit down before speaking. "You embarrassed us," he said. "You made it look like we did something wrong. You handed me a rent demand at my brother's celebration." I replied, "That wasn't neutral. That's business," he said. "You're an adult, and buying him a car wasn't?" "That's different," he snapped. "He needs help." There it was. "So because I handle things, I get less?" I asked. He sighed, frustrated. "You've always been fine." I nodded. "That's the problem." He said the words that finally ended the conversation. "He's worth the investment." Something in me settled. Not pain, relief. "I just needed to hear that," I said. He looked stunned, like he'd expected tears, anger, negotiation. "You're really going to walk away over money?" he asked. "No," I said. "I'm walking away over clarity." After that, everything shifted. Without me holding things together, the family system started to crack. My brother struggled. My mom grew quieter. My dad lost control, and without control, his authority meant very little. Meanwhile, my life steadied. I found my own place, focused on work. People noticed. I wasn't the reliable daughter anymore. I was just myself. One night, my dad texted. I didn't mean it the way it sounded. I replied, "Impact matters more than intent." He never responded. Looking back, that dinner wasn't the moment my family broke. It was the moment the illusion did. Sometimes walking away isn't about punishment. It's about refusing to keep shrinking so others can stay comfortable. If this story hit close to home, you're not weak for wanting fairness, and you're not selfish for choosing yourself. If you've ever had to step back from family to protect your sense of self, share your story. And if you want more real stories like this, subscribe so you don't miss what comes next.